Welcome to the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. Here, we believe leadership isn't just about titles. It's about how you show up in every aspect of life. Whether you're leading a business, building a legacy as an entrepreneur, guiding your family, or striving to lead yourself first, this podcast is for you. Join us as we dive into real conversations about growth, decision-making, and the courage it takes to lead with purpose. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to become the limitless leader you are meant to be. This is your Limitless Leadership Podcast. Let's lead without limits. Welcome to your Limitless Leadership. And today, just like so many other times, I have a very special guest with me. Special to my heart, I guess, put it that way. And her name is Jenny Marie Widman. And today we're going to talk about prospecting. And I know some of you leaders out there listening to this might be thinking, well, what the heck does that have to do with leadership? Well, let's call it what it is. You are a leader, which means you recruit. You lead a team, which means they need to prospect. And without prospecting, without lead generation, without follow-up, without doing all these things that we need to do, you simply don't have a business. Let's call it what it is. So I'm going to turn it over here, and I would like to welcome my very special guest to me, Mrs. Jenny Widman.
Thanks, Brent. Yeah, I mean, the number one mistake I see when it comes to prospecting in general, whether you're recruiting or if you're a leader for your team when they're prospecting, is that they typically only have one route. We call them pulls, one area that they go after. And it's rare that I find a leader that has 4 different ways that they prospect. And so, or 5 or 6 or 7. And so it's just diversifying your strategies, expand your success. And that's why Brent and I really wanted to talk about this. It's, asking yourself first, well, how many ways do I prospect? How many ways do I recruit? What do I do for my team to get them to do different ways? Not just work leads, or not just work referrals, or not just hope someone's going to call, or not just go to networking events and be a professional visitor. But it's just these, if we can create systems around having different methods, you will see more success.
I love that you touched on that already, because it's so what are these different polls and what are these different whatever you want to call them, lead generation systems? Where do you go? What do you do? Hope is a really good strategy if that works for you, I guess, put it that way. I'm kidding, by the way. And I love that Jenny just touched on just different aspects like the everywhere you go approach. And what does that mean? If you see somebody when you're out to eat, if you, I don't know, man, the grocery store, what are the things that you do on a daily basis? Maybe the gym, you go for a run, whatever, that there's all these people out there. I've gone so far as to driving, book of lists, referrals, team member referrals, cold calls. I mean, just simply networking, like you said. And the thing about networking, what we see so often is people are exactly what Jenny just said, is professional networkers, where it feels good to go to these events, but they're not really going in with a purpose or getting anything out of it. And that's part of the aspect of prospecting. If you don't have a purpose and you're not committed to what you're doing, and I guess I go back to, that was my Achilles heel for years. I was a dial dummy. I would track my dials on a Post-it or a sheet of paper, and it felt really good to get that tick mark. And I would get tick mark after tick mark, one after another. Now, what it did for me, though, I'll tell you the good part of this, is it did help create the habit of making phone calls. I will make a phone call anywhere, anytime. I don't care if it's 6 a.m. or 8 p.m. I don't care who it is. If you are the president of the United States or somebody who just started, I just don't care. And it did help create that. And if there's one thing you listen to here, know that when you are prospecting, if you call somebody at 11 o'clock in the morning, they're not going to remember that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They just simply don't care. So I know that's one of the avenues of prospecting. We're talking more about generation and what have you, but that's what kept me going. Over time, what I was taught by a leader is it's not about the number of dials that you make. No, you got to start off that way. But it's about the number of conversations that you have and the people that you are moving to make a decision. So instead of focusing on how many tick marks I can get to leave voicemails, I started focusing on how many conversations I can have, and the conversations led to business. And that was one of the biggest things. Now, I know Jenny just kind of touched on different forms of where they came from, but I hope that helps you. That's just one of the little things that I had to change over time. And I would bet you have people on your team that live in that same world, because I know we did.
I also bet, though, Brent, that they have people that are very unlike you and that they just don't
Yeah,
make enough dials.
I
So
agree.
if you can talk on that, you're one of the people that I know have absolutely zero emotional attachment with a phone number that you dial. I mean, you're someone. I remember coming home one day and you were like, "Yeah, I just called the like really high up person at the Timberwolves." And I was like,
The CEO, by the way.
"Oh, the CEO of the Timberwolves." I couldn't remember the exact name, so I didn't want to say it. And you were just like, "Yeah, I mean, we might go get lunch." And, if you could, help leaders or help people that are listening to this help their team have zero emotional attachment to that number. I live in the opposite world of that. So, half the battle is just making the dial.
So I know we talk a lot about, or have in the past, or it's hard to know where to start with that because I've done so many things to build into that. But let me rewind a little bit. Okay. It starts with why you're doing what you do. And I don't want to say start with the why and this big thing. Back when I was broke, right? I was broke. So I knew that if I made phone calls, what I saw was the harder that I worked, the more money I would make. So this led to this. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about if somebody told me no. I didn't care about if somebody told me yes. I don't care about if somebody told me those. I just don't care. And I don't want that to sound like in a bad way, because that's the muscle that has been created over time. I do it for my kids. I do it for you. I do it for house. I do it for vacations. I do it to feel confident with, I don't know, to show my parents I've been successful. I do it because my brother is really good at what he does. I do it because I work out and it gives me freedom to do that. I do it because I get up in the morning early and it's created the system that it's allowed me to do that. I've created the aspect of working from home and it's given me the freedom to do that. It's given me the freedom to maybe sometimes be done at 4 o'clock and walk down to get the kids. That's what I mean by find your why. It's not just this one thing, but I look at it. If I have white space on my calendar, I need to call people and drive business, because if I don't do that, if I'm not asking for referrals or doing these different lead sources as well, like I'm not driving business. And that's where I take the emotion out of it. Some people are going to say yes, and some people are going to say no. It doesn't matter. You could call that person that you think is going to spend so much money with you, and they're going to be like, yeah, I'm not really interested anymore. So what? There is 1,000, 100,000, a million people lined up behind them. All we have to do is find them. That's it. And it's that next, 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 next. And I don't know how to transition that to you. I hope you understand like my mindset around this. This question I get asked all the time. And I was sitting in a meeting once, and Dana, we talk about this, was sitting beside me. And I said, why do people struggle so much with just picking up the phone and talking to people? And She goes, you take the emotion out of it. But here's what I'm telling you. If you don't pick up the phone, if you don't talk to people, if you don't prospect and drive business, you're not going to be able to live the life that you want to live. My best friends, my wife, my things that I've created in my life are because I have picked up the phone. As weird as that sounds, I wouldn't be where I am today if Jason Mitzo didn't walk into my office at Lifetime Fitness and set a stack of papers on my desk and say, call all of these people. If I would have, in that moment, if I would have created the habit of, that feels weird, I would still be stuck in mediocrity. But instead, I said, all right. And then people started buying things. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's a correlation here. And that led me to being a leader. That led to me failing. That led to me even taking a job at the YMCA thinking, well, I never have to make phone calls again. Well, I was a sales leader. Boy, was I off on that one. It's all, I mean, I could tell you stories for days that picking up the phone and lead generation and prospecting will help you get to all the dreams and the people that you want to meet in your life. Like you talked about Ethan Casson, that was the CEO. He's moved on to a different role now, a different team. But I just wanted to talk to him. And he is one of the best dudes I've met. He's just a really good guy, which you'll find when you call people. They're just good people. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'm a diehard 90s Cowboys fan on top of it. And Emmitt Smith played for the Cowboys, and I wanted to talk to Emmitt Smith. So I cold called his real estate company over and over and over again. Never got to talk to him, but I kept trying because I just wanted to talk to Emmitt Smith and hopefully go in and do business with him. Just do it. When you do the hard things like that, calling all these other people are pretty easy because they're the same as you.
Mm.
They're no different than we are. I know it's the old adage of they put their pants on the same way, what have you. They might make more money, they might make less money, they might have a bigger team, they might have a smaller team, but I bet you they struggle with mindset. I bet they struggle with confidence. I bet you at times they struggle with health and fitness and maybe in their marriage. They struggle with life and they need somebody to talk to, and that could simply be you if you pick up the phone and call. So I just gave you about 50 reasons to answer your question, I guess.
No, I love it. And to also take the emotion out of it, one of the affirmations that I love when I'm prospecting is I am just looking for the open-minded people. And I
What does that
learned
mean?
that, well, I learned that when I went door to door, because going door to door, I'm sure you can imagine that you'll get those people that let you in right away that want to hear what you do. You'll get those skeptical people. What's this person have to say? And you'll get those people that simply just either, we call them home but hiding. They just don't even answer the door, or they slam the door in your face. And I can't even, I don't know how many door slams I've had, but I've had a lot of door slams. And I kept saying to myself, like, they don't even know what I'm doing. They don't even know what I have to offer. Maybe I'm not even selling anything. Maybe I'm simply just there needing help, or um giving them something. Who knows, right? And that's where I got this affirmation, because if someone doesn't even give you the time of the day, like, it's their loss. They're not open-minded. They're not giving you the opportunity to even share what you're doing. And it was frustrating. And so I told myself, I don't want to talk to those people anyway. And you translate that over to making phone calls, because at the end of the day, like, if they're not open minded to just have a conversation with me and see if we can work or help each other out, then they're not worth my time in the first place. And if they're not going to even let me get through the reason I'm giving you a phone call, I don't need to spend time dwelling about them. So, one of my favorite affirmations is I am just looking for open minded people. I could be calling them for a life changing opportunity. I could be calling them for something that's completely changed my life in turn that could change their life. And if they're not open minded, it's their loss. So it's just taking that emotion out of it too, and knowing that you're really doing a good thing, and you wouldn't be calling unless the company that you work for, what you're doing has changed your life.
Love that you talk about affirmations and open-minded people. Open-minded just simply means that they're open to having a conversation. That's it. They may not buy from you. They might buy from you, but they're open to talking to you. And you could create, I've created so many relationships from people that have not bought anything from me. But what they do is because I've created and put time and effort into these relationships, it's funny because they introduce me to people that will do business with us, which is, it's funny how that works, but that's just part of it. And that is okay. And then you look at the other side of affirmations, because I know Jenny has a lot of affirmations that she uses and talks to, and let's just call it what it is. Mine are a little different. Mine are a little bit more like, suck it up, Widman. Let's go hunting for money. Just things like that, where I'll talk to myself, as in if I don't want to make a phone call, because don't get me wrong, there are times that I'll look at a name and I'm like, ah, and then I push the button. And once you push the button, you you have no I guess you could hang up if you really wanted to, but you really have no option, because your name's going to pop up, your number's going to pop up, and it's time to have that conversation, is really what it is. So don't get me wrong. I mean, I still get in that phase of your blood pressure goes up a little bit, or you get a little nervous, or whatever it is. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, that's me, you're not alone. Let's call it what it is. You've got the drive, you've got the experience, like you have it. You have it. You know what you're doing. But something still feels off at times, or things could be better. We know that they can be. You know there's more. What we do is we help committed leaders go from guessing and grinding to really leading with clarity and structure and confidence. We're offering complimentary DNA strategy calls. We're going to evaluate how you're leading, where performance might be breaking down. It happens. And what really needs to tighten up within your business, within your leadership, within those people around you. Then we're going to take this next step. And what we're going to do is build accountability, the skills, and the systems to create that consistent, or those consistent results around it. If you're open to digging in a little bit, the link is below in the show notes. Just book your DNAcall.com and we will find time for you and we will dig in with you. All right, let's get back to it. But the more you do it, I correlate this with, honestly, with working out, that the more I do it, the stronger I get. And then it just becomes normal. It's who you are and what you do. And that's I think what Jenny was saying, taking the emotion out of it. When I wake up in the morning to work out, I don't have to think about, am I going to do it? I just do it. If it's time to make phone calls, I don't have to think about if I'm going to do it. I just do it.
Mm.
And that just comes through repetition, is all it is. And if you're struggling as a leader to help your team or get your team to do it, what I have come to find, there are those people that they will simply make 100 phone calls if you ask them. I'll just use that number to make it easy. But then there are those people that are scared to make phone calls. And if you tell them to make 100, they're going to do 0. But if you help them make 3, they'll probably make 3. And then you can move it to 5. And then maybe you can move it to 12. And maybe that's where it sits. Now, those numbers are your numbers, what have you. But that's how you create that muscle. You consistently get better and you consistently move it. And we're not just talking about phone calls. We're talking about meetings, networking meetings, all these different things, right, that come with it. But again, if you are not prospecting in any way, shape, or form, your business will not grow. It's, it's pretty simple when you think about it. I mean, you can sit in your chair and wait for people to come to you. Good for you if you've created that. That's like the dream, which I guess we're creating, right? That kind of thing. But I would encourage you as leaders to help your team, not tell your team. Nothing to add to that, Mrs. Widman? I could go on. I mean, if you haven't, this is my favorite topic. It really is. Because as a salesperson starting out, I saw what it could do for me because somebody helped me with it. As a leader, I then wanted to pass that on to other people. And I'm a believer that even when people don't want to pick up the phone and make a phone call, let's say they're just used to making 5 a day. You take somebody like Jeff that we talk about from time to time that just wasn't a prospecting guy. But if I can help him go from making 5 today to a day to 10 a day, that is a win. Even coaching leaders, we do a lot in the financial world and they recruit. And a lot of them don't feel like they're salespeople. And if you can help them go from making or not making any phone calls to actually cold calling or LinkedIn or text or whatever it is to help grow their business, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. It just has to be something. And something creates consistency around what you do every day. So instead of telling yourself, I have to do this or nothing, just start creating the habit of doing it and watch what happens to your business, your mindset, your life, everything around you.
Yeah, prospecting is a habit. It's not
It
necessarily
is.
a task. And if you're not prospecting or you don't want to prospect or you're not doing the things weekly every day to prospect, then you shouldn't be in sales or leadership. Like get out because your number one job as a leader, one of them, top 5 is to recruit A plus people. And if you are not every day doing something to help you recruit A plus people and people that are better than you, then you need to find a different role, find something that will make you happy. It's okay if you don't want to be a leader. It's okay if you don't want to be in sales. It's not for everybody. It's just you need to prospect to be able to survive in that industry as a whole. So, the one thing that I'll add here is the different ways you can be prospecting, the different ways to put this into effect for your business. And this goes for if you are a leader and you're recruiting, and this goes for if you are a leader and you're training your agents underneath you. But it's a framework and it has to do with fishing because at the end of the day, if I went fishing with Brent and I had one pole in the water and Brent had 5 poles in the water, Brent is going to catch more fish than me any day of the week because he just has more opportunity. And sure, you can put better bait on there and you can go into better waters and all that. But if we had the same bait, same everything, and he had 5 and I had 1, he's ultimately going to catch more. So our catch framework has to do with that, where you just need to make sure that we have at least a diversified portfolio. And C stands for client referrals. We need to make sure people know what we are recruiting for. We need to make sure people know who would be our prime candidate for recruiting into our company. So C is client referrals. A is alliances. When you are a leader, you need to make alliances, referral partnerships with other people that do not do what you do, but complement what you do, where you guys have the exact same perfect person, prospect, but you two do not compete against each other. Um, so it's that alliance. T is your targeted lists. I know that there's companies out there that have to have a lead, have to buy leads. I also know if you are a recruiting position, you should have ads out there, whether they're on Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster, whatever else you guys can use out there nowadays. But you should have targeted lists from resumes coming in. And so T is targeted list. C is your community. What are you doing to put yourself out there? Are you volunteering? Are you going to universities and colleges? Are you going to the career centers and the alumni centers? Are you joining maybe a meetup in the area? Are you doing a BNI or a chamber meeting? Are you finding out other relationships like C9, Branson C9? It's another organization that you can do, at least in Minnesota. So getting yourself out in the community so that people know about you and that you can brand yourself. And then the last one is human to human, social media, telling people online, posting about testimonials, posting about how you've changed someone's life, posting about events that you've been at, making the job look fun. But we need systems put in place in at least, and I know these are just five, but at least these five main categories, because at the end of the day, these are how you're getting your your prospects, your people in. And whether you're a leader and you're doing it for recruiting, or whether you're doing it because you're an agent or a realtor or somebody that is in sales, you can use this framework with either or. It's just what memory joggers you're using at the end of the day.
And folks, this is why she is phenomenal at what she does. You just use that simple five, because off that five, you're going to get so many other different holes in the water from that, for lack of a better term. That is what's going to happen. Can you explain to me? I know you ended right there on memory jogger. What is a memory jogger?
People think in pictures. So if you are a financial advisor and you're asking, like, hey, who else do you know needs my services? They don't know. No one knows who needs a financial advisor. Like, I don't know if my best friend has a financial advisor. Like, we don't typically talk about that type of stuff. But if you say, hey, and you think of the past five people that you sold and the reasons why they went with you, use those reasons. Like, hey, who do you know that just got married? Hey, who do you know that just had a baby? Hey, who do you know that just got a promotion at work? Hey, who do you know that drives the nicest car? That anybody that drives the nicest car that you know. Who's that person? Like, those are the people that you probably want to talk to. Those are the people that might not have things set up yet, that have the ability to probably have a lot of money because they drive nice things or they live in a nice neighborhood or whatever the case is. So, who do you know that is a business owner? Those are memory joggers. It's painting the picture of the type of person that you want to talk to, not just, hey, who do you know that needs my services?
I love that. So you take the habit, put it this way, you take the habit of Brent Widman or whoever, of you are just going to do it because that's just what you do. You take the emotion out of it. You couple that with the different polls, the catch mentality, what have you, and then you put plus what Jenny just talked about, the memory joggers, to make this smarter, not harder, so you know who you're looking for, and it equals your business growth 10x time and time and time again, because you are doing the things that you should be doing, and that you're making this so much easier than beating your head against the wall, which is a lot of times why people don't want to prospect, because it's like we're spinning our wheels. Make it easier on yourself. It's all you have to do. It is that simple. That's why but you got to start, and if you've started, add this, and if you've already added that or something of that nature, add a little bit more, and then add the memory joggers and the payoff. Know what you're looking for, have a purpose, and be intentional, and go after it, and watch what starts to happen. It's that simple. Anything to add, Mrs. Widman?
Can you just, last thing, talk about
Yeah.
abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset, and why having so many different types of leads is so healthy?
So, what abundance is to me, and this is just one man's opinion, is I want to have so many people and so many different avenues in my pipeline that I don't have to worry if somebody says no. That is one of the other reasons I go back to the beginning of this. Another why behind why I made so many phone calls, because I've been in a point where we only had so many people to call and you feel like you have to close everybody. That's the scarcity. That's the commission breath. That's I have to have it. I need it. And people feel that. People see that. People can, it oozes out of you when you're this pushy salesperson. And we all know those people that give us a bad name. And when you have so many people that you can't get to all of them or get back to all of them or call all of them, your life becomes so much easier because it just creates this peace of mind that I hope you're with me on this, because it's not hard to explain. It just makes things really easy. It really does. And if you do not have enough people to call, that's your fault. I don't know how else to say it. There are 8 billion people in this world. And if you can't find a certain amount that you can do business with, well, that's on you. All you have to do is a little due diligence and go find it. And that's where the abundance starts to set in.
Mm.
It's really that easy. I don't know. And if you are that person that's making one phone call a day and hoping to close that person, and here's what happens. Now we start waiting for that person to call us back, and we're thinking about that person all the time. And why haven't they called me? Why haven't they talked to me? What are they doing? Why? And then we start calling them. Now we're that douchebag that keeps doing that, or we're that person that it's constantly on our mind. And I'll tell you what, I never wanted to be that person. I will follow up. If you don't tell me no, you're giving me permission to follow up with you. That's how I look at it. Until you tell me no, or until you simply I take you off my list, I guess, put it that way. But that's the other thing too. So yeah, I love it, man. Like, this is my, you can tell how excited I am. This stuff just gets me going. It motivates me to it motivates me to do more. And the reason that is, if you take nothing else away from this, because it has simply provided everything in my life for me up to this point. And why would I not do it when it does that? It's really that simple. Thank you for being on here. I truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate you listening to this. And I would go back, honestly, and listen to, because most of us don't write things down or listen to things. We're just kind of do. To when Jenny talked about those 5 things, that was probably the most important thing here. And then the memory joggers, you put that into practice and watch what happens. Okay. Your Limitless Leadership. You can find us. And when you want to talk about this, not if, because it should be a when, to help grow you, your business, everything else that goes with it, dnacall.com. And all you have to do is hit that, reach out, schedule with us, and we will talk to you. Thank you for being on here. Thanks for joining us on the Your Limitless Leadership podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about leadership, not just in your career, but in every part of your life. Remember, leadership starts with leading yourself first. It's about taking action, making bold decisions, and showing up with purpose. Now, it's time to take what you've heard today and put it into practice. Whether it's in your business, your community, your family, or your own personal growth, start leading without limits. You have the power to become the leader you're meant to be. Until next time, keep pushing your boundaries and leading with purpose.